The film begins by showing a man named Mathieu who has just arrived in Paris. Not long after, he meets his wife Anna and their teenage daughter Sarah. From the outset, it's revealed that Sarah suffers from a rare respiratory condition so severe that breathing ordinary air could be life-threatening for her. Because of this, Sarah must spend her life confined to a special medical capsule that constantly filters and provides the proper air for her to inhale. Eager to brighten Sarah's days, Mathieu has brought her a collection of small fragrance bottles. Each one holds a particular scent connected to some place he has visited, allowing Sarah to imagine traveling the world even though she remains inside her capsule. Along with those scents, he gives her a memory device filled with recordings of the outside world, which Sarah can experience through virtual reality gear. Meanwhile, to keep in touch with people, she must use a two-way radio to talk to her parents and an online video application to connect with friends. Despite these limitations, Sarah remains hopeful and tries to keep her spirits up as best she can. After settling in, Mathieu confides to Anna that he has heard rumors of a treatment center in Canada, believed to offer pioneering procedures for conditions like Sarah's. Anna is hesitant because she finds it strange that Sarah's personal physician never mentioned any possibility of a cure. However, Mathieu remains convinced that Canada's medical technology is more advanced, and he persuades Anna that they should at least consider the option for Sarah's sake. Anna eventually agrees, though with a certain level of doubt in her mind. While that conversation unfolds, Sarah, in her capsule, is chatting online with two friends who share the same respiratory condition, Charlotte and No. They are discussing their own struggles and the everyday routines needed to stay safe. Suddenly, a breaking news report appears on television, announcing that a series of powerful earthquakes has struck several countries across Europe. As if on cue, an earthquake rattles the city of Paris. Once the tremors subside, Mathieu immediately thinks of Sarah's well-being and rushes outside to make sure their apartment building is still intact. Just then, warning sirens blare throughout the city, and flocks of birds scatter in frantic flight. An eerie, thick smoke starts to swirl up from the ground, although nobody can tell exactly where it is coming from. Worse still, people who inhale even a small amount of the smoke seem to collapse, indicating that it's extremely toxic. Recognizing the danger, Mathieu and Anna quickly make their way to a higher floor, owned by an older couple named Lucien and Colette. Their apartment is at the top of the building, and for the moment, the smoke has not reached that altitude. Meanwhile, Sarah remains safe in her capsule, which is sealed and has its own filtered air supply.
C'est quoi ce truc?
As chaos spreads across Paris, the disaster causes a citywide power outage. Sarah's capsule runs on battery power, but it only has enough charge to last for about 10 more hours. Sensing the urgency, Mathieu climbs to the rooftop to assess the situation. From there, he sees the dense smoke covering the lower levels of buildings, making the streets almost impassable. During this time, Lucien expresses his desperation to locate his own child, who lives on a lower floor. With limited options, Lucien attempts to fix a vintage radio in hopes of contacting his loved ones. Mathieu, meanwhile, is equally anxious about how he will keep Sarah's capsule functioning. The battery must be replaced soon, or Sarah's life support will fail. He recalls that there is a local resident who often wore a specialized mask, possibly hinting at a supply of oxygen tanks. With only a flashlight and a small tool from Lucien, Mathieu steels himself for a dangerous trip outside. He holds his breath while going through the lower floors, searching for any portable oxygen canisters. Eventually, he manages to find one, though the process is tense and physically exhausting. While retrieving the canister, Mathieu hears strange sounds coming from somewhere nearby. He stumbles upon two dogs. One has unfortunately passed away due to the smoke, yet the other is somehow still alive, perhaps protected by something not immediately visible. Not wishing to linger, Mathieu heads straight back to Sarah to replenish her capsule's battery and give her a bit of food. By this time, the streets are ominously silent, with lifeless forms scattered across sidewalks, emphasizing how lethal the smoke is. Suddenly, a convoy of military trucks arrives, and soldiers begin evacuating any survivors they can find. Spotting Mathieu, they offer him a lift to Montmartre, a higher area of Paris that might be beyond the toxic cloud's reach. They hand him an oxygen tank and reveal that the authorities are still unsure what exactly the smoke is. It's apparently seeping up from under the earth, not from a conventional industrial or environmental incident. Despite the invitation, Mathieu refuses to leave because his wife and daughter are still in the building. He only asks for an extra oxygen tank, which the soldiers provide before continuing their rescue operation. Nightfall brings additional tension. When Mathieu checks the smoke level, it appears to be creeping further upward. During that same evening, Anna confides in Lucien and Colette about the surprising frequency of rare respiratory disorders like Sarah's, noting that thus far no one has found a definitive cure. Before lying down to rest for a short while, Mathieu quietly informs Anna that the smoke has advanced even more. They choose not to alarm Lucien and Colette with the news, fearing it might cause them unnecessary anxiety at this delicate moment. However, deep down, Mathieu and Anna realize they will soon have to leave for higher ground. The next morning, Anna succeeds in repairing Lucien's old radio and picks up an official broadcast advising everyone to seal any gaps in their homes against the encroaching fumes. Before they can act on that advice, a distant explosion from the Montmartre area erupts, possibly indicating unrest among the evacuees. Concerned that Montmartre might no longer be safe, Anna suggests relocating to the mountain home of Charlotte, Sarah's friend, since Charlotte has a similar medical capsule. This plan hinges on obtaining transportation and a protective medical suit that would allow Sarah to venture outside her capsule without being exposed to the smoke. Resolute, Mathieu and Anna head into the city together, determined to gather what they need. They stop by Sarah's capsule first to let her know they will also try to find Noé, whom Sarah cannot stop thinking about. Just as they exit the building, a startled dog appears out of nowhere, chasing Mathieu until he falls into a nearby river. In the confusion, he and Anna get separated, but fortunately, they manage to find each other after only a short while. Relieved, they reaffirm their resolve to keep moving forward, no matter what. Eventually, they reach a medical clinic and discover a container holding the precise protective suit required for Sarah. However, just as they are about to leave, a sudden blast shakes the area, throwing Mathieu to the ground and rupturing the hose on his oxygen supply. With his ability to breathe compromised, Anna must help him upstairs, sharing a single functioning oxygen tank between them. The explosion also inflicts a painful injury to Mathieu's abdomen, and Anna does her best to dress the wound with limited resources. When they prepare to continue their journey, Mathieu notices that the remaining oxygen is too scant for 2 people. Determined to save Sarah, he insists that Anna return home with the suit on her own. He promises to take a different path back, hoping to find another oxygen source along the way. Despite her misgivings, Anna concedes to his plan. She barely makes it to the apartment building before her oxygen runs out completely, forcing her to hold her breath while racing upstairs. Weakened by the effort, she discovers to her dismay that the container she was carrying has been badly damaged, rendering the suit unusable for Sarah. Meanwhile, Mathieu endures his abdominal pain and manages to climb onto another rooftop. There, he stumbles upon a supply of food and a rope leading to a higher level. Calling out, he receives no reply. Undeterred, he scales the rope and finds the body of a firefighter who has apparently succumbed to the smoke, as well as an oxygen tank left behind. Grateful to have found another tank, Mathieu quickly straps it on. Unexpectedly, a police officer appears, claiming ownership of that oxygen tank. He demands that Mathieu give it back, vowing to help him if he complies. Spotting the officer's hand moving toward a firearm, Mathieu, fearing for his own safety, makes a split-second decision to defend himself. In the confrontation, the officer is ultimately overpowered and does not survive. Back at the apartment, Anna realizes Sarah's capsule battery is nearly depleted again. With no oxygen to spare, Anna has no choice but to hold her breath while changing the battery. Despite the urgency, Sarah continues mentioning how she cares about No. Anna remains focused, though clearly distraught that her daughter's fate hangs on every second ticking by. By the time Mathieu finally returns, he is met with a heartbreaking sight. Anna has lost her life, likely overwhelmed by the toxic air while trying to safeguard Sarah. Grief-stricken, Mathieu breaks down, calling out to Anna in vain. Hearing the commotion, Sarah reaches him via her two-way radio, asking what happened. Trembling, Mathieu tells her the tragic truth, that Anna has passed away. Overwhelmed by sorrow, he tries to collect his thoughts. Despite the heartbreak, Mathieu realizes he must keep going, not just for himself, but for Sarah. Suddenly another earthquake rocks the city, causing the deadly smoke to rise even higher. In the midst of renewed panic, Mathieu urges Lucien and Colette to escape while they still can. However, they gently decline, wishing to remain in the only home they have ever known, embracing each other through whatever may come. Accepting their decision, Mathieu rushes to Sarah and explains that he must leave once more to find a medical suit so she can be evacuated safely. After combing through the devastated city, he eventually tracks down the suit he needs, then makes his way back on a borrowed motorcycle. Along the route, he spots a young child roaming freely without any protective gear or signs of distress. Shocked to the core, Mathieu loses control of the motorcycle, resulting in an accident. At the same time, inside the apartment, Sarah tries to contact Mathieu on the radio, but he doesn't respond. She then hears someone entering her vicinity. Regaining consciousness, Mathieu calls out for Sarah. In that instant, two silhouettes step into view. Unbelievably, it's Sarah herself, outside her capsule, along with No. Astoundingly, they are both able to breathe the smoke-filled air without harm. This jaw-dropping revelation suggests that the mysterious haze does not affect children with Sarah's rare condition. While the city around them remains eerily silent, Sarah and No can finally experience the world beyond the capsule. In the final scene, Mathieu awakens in a sealed capsule of his own, implying that he may need protection from the new environment just as Sarah once did. With that, the film closes on a contemplative note, leaving us to ponder how lives can change in a single moment and how hope might still be found in the most unexpected circumstances. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, because by subscribing you have supported me to make better videos. See you in the next video.